When I was 10 years old, I watched the critically acclaimed movie Taken, and that hour and a half will stick with me for the rest of my life. For those of you who are not familiar with the movie, it is about two girls being taken from France and being pushed into human trafficking. One of the girls died, and sadly, if it were not for the other's father heroically rescuing her, she most likely would have perished as well. After seeing what seemed to be my worst nightmare plastered onto a screen, I had to ask my mom, does that really happen? And she gave me the answer I did not want. She said, yes, it does. That's why you always have to be careful. I knew from that point on it was my job to do something about this problem. On my first day of research, a couple of things came to light. I assumed that human trafficking was like it was on the TV, but no. Although that does happen sometimes, 80% of human trafficking happens because of coercion and manipulation. Oftentimes, the traffickers will disguise themselves as a parental figure, a friend, or even a significant other. They target vulnerable teens that seem to have no one. Since human trafficking is not what most people perceive it to be, most victims often go unnoticed and unheard. According to the Human Trafficking Center, 90% of sex trafficking victims suffer mental, sexual, and physical abuse. Due to this, there will always be some changes in the way the victim lives their lives that you can notice. An excessive amount of time on the internet. That is because traffickers will communicate with them through internet, and they would target them through the internet and like dating sites. Slipping grades, bruises, an excessive amount of gifts. Oftentimes they will receive gifts from their traffickers, sneaking out and distancing themselves from friends and family. These are all kind of small, but if you notice them, they could possibly save someone's life. If you do notice this, talk to them and tell them that there is a national human trafficking hotline that can be called at any time. This is a way that victims can be put in contact with someone with the abilities to help guide their way out of human trafficking safely. According to humantraffickinghotline.org, more than 276,654 calls have come in since 2007. Many times will be phones in the bathrooms of hotels and motels that can be used to call this number. Bars of soap are put in these places with the number on it. Now, they're not everywhere, but they are some places. Although steps are being taken, the number of victims only seem to be rising. The implementation of the internet has caused it to be the fastest growing criminal industry in the world, bringing around $35 billion every year, according to safehorizon.org. The only way to truly shrink this number is through education. There is no rule saying that human trafficking has to be taught in schools. Many parents are against it because the reality of the subject is very grim and can oftentimes be uncomfortable. But that's exactly why we need to have that conversation. People need to start getting uncomfortable and having those possibly life-saving conversations. Since it can be hard due to all the brainwashing to know that you're in human trafficking, this will give people a way to look out for the signs before it is too late. This is what I thought. So I went to my House of Representatives member, Carly Macer, and helped write up a bill that would make it mandatory for schools in Indiana to have this implemented in their curriculum. Although it has not made it to be voted on, I am hopeful that it will. I had this implemented in my school because I went to them and raised my concerns, and they were very willing to listen. I was only one person who watched a movie when I was 10. No one is too small to make a change. You just have to be willing to try. And although that movie will always leave that little scar on my heart, I'm very happy I watched it, because who knows, maybe I helped someone. And that's worth everything. Thank you.